brands in NFTs, in Metaverse. We have Louis Vuitton, Coca-Cola, Gucci, Nike. All the big companies in the world are entering the Metaverse and they are here to stay. Today in this panel we will have a lot of people with their success stories. What can we learn from their stories? First of all, how can you use blockchain technology and how can you leverage NFTs to propel your brand and to create better customer engagement? What stands between you and your business integration in Web3? We have a lot of topics that we will cover right now with the people that are working every day to put Romania on the global charts. So let's welcome with a huge round of applause, first of all, the moderator, Pierse from Borderless Ventures. Now let's welcome, you all know him, you all love him, let's welcome Cicirean from Brand Minds. Woo! Woo, 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 woo. Now another very good friend of NFT Bucharest. She does so many things that I think that no introduction is needed. Let's welcome Ioana Frincu. Now for the ticketing and NFT side of the panel, let's welcome Dragan from OVEIT, MTK from its NFTime, and last but not least, David Hauser. Let's give them a huge round of applause. Luck.
Loud American voice until there it is. It popped in finally. So here we are, all good to go. It's great to have you here. Who was here yesterday? Raise your hands. Did any of you happen to catch my keynote on NFT as Web3 is the future of brand marketing yesterday morning? Anybody see that? A few people. So it's actually a talk that is just each of these things all together. So this is going to be fantastic because we've got somebody doing pretty much each of the things that we discussed in that talk, except it's their specific vertical about what they're building. So I think it's going to be a really fun conversation to learn from their experience and the wealth of knowledge that they have in building these things. Web3 is an extremely broad category of subjects that we can deal with, and so it can go in so many different directions. That's what's so fun about it. At the use of brands and marketing today is that each one of these people is building something super important, but that maybe doesn't have a lot, it seems like, in common with the other people that are building the other things. But Web3 has this just amazing coverage of all the stuff in innovation that can really help with this basic idea of community engagement. For me, Web3 really comes down to how you can engage with your customers, with your fans, with the people who love your brand or your thing, whatever that is that you do. And Web3 is the technology stack that's going to let us continue to build out a whole new range of ways to interact with those communities. And so to start that conversation, I'd like to just let each person introduce themselves and give you a little short context of what it is they do in the concept of NFTs, Web3 for brands, for marketing. What does that mean? So I think we'll just go kind of in order. So David, we'll start with you.
Hey, thank you so much, Ethan, for doing this and great talk yesterday. By the way, I was there. I listened to it, yeah. Hey guys, so I'm David. I'm the co-founder of OwnerChip. We're a startup based in Vienna. And we connect valuable physical objects to the blockchain through NFC chips. So we're working with luxury brands, fashion brands, beverage brands, and really closely tie the physical object to a token on the blockchain, so a real digital twin. So I think the main issue currently with digital twins is that often they are not actually tied with the physical piece for proof of ownership, for proof of authenticity, and this is the problem that we're tackling and also introducing trading through the blockchain for physical objects. Yep.
Excellent. Ioana?
It might not look very obvious when you see Eazy Insurance, what we actually do in the Web3 space. Apart from being a CTO for Eazy, where we're looking at how to integrate blockchain and Web3 with insurance products, I am also the technical advisor for Helen's Rock, where some of our investments are your competition. We do invest in phygital goods, as well as gaming from companies that create challenges for AAA gaming titles and down to companies that go towards betting and other gaming projects. So my experience is mostly focused on investing in these products, as well as what we're looking now into insurance and how we can bridge the gap between such an over-regulated environment and the wild west of Web3.
Excellent. Mike?
Hi, my name is Mike Dragan. I'm the co-founder and CEO of OVEIT. In the context of brands, we help them set up amazing in-person events as well as virtual events, and we work with brands such as Amazon, Porsche. Some of the brands at LVMH have used our software as well, and other types of brands that want to engage their audience in real life, and using our NFT ticketing platform, they can take it one step further towards building some sort of loyalty brand that starts with a live amazing experience.
Hi everyone, I'm MTK. I write for the best Romanian newsletter on NFTs and Metaverse called It's NFTime. I mainly write about NFTs with utility, and during the time I was doing research on brands especially. It's very nice to see how they evolve and what they struggle with, and I believe we're going to touch some of these subjects today.
Excellent. And Abhi? Headset mic?
Okay.
There we go.
Hi, I'm Cicirean. I'm the founder of Brand Minds and Digitalium, many other companies. My expertise is in branding. I produce more than 25,000 commercials, and I've been working with many, many international brands. So I'm here to share my opinion about Web3, branding, and maybe the future, a possible future of NFTs.
So in order for brands to engage with their customers around NFTs, that means their customers they need to have an NFT. This is the chicken and egg problem where they need to have a wallet, which most people do not. We're a world of 8 billion people. There's maybe 10 million active wallets out there, really, because I don't know how many I've got, but if we say there's 100 million wallets, I know 28 of them are mine. So, I think there's a problem there that we have. There's still not a lot of people who, we're getting into that. So the problem is we need to get NFTs into the hands of users in order for them brands be able to use that for the leverage. So I think for the first, everybody, this is discussion, so everybody can just jump in whenever, but I'd like maybe both David and Mike to chime in on this first piece, because one of the first ways we're going to put NFTs in the first NFT in people's pocket is going to be because they go to an event and that ticket is now the thing that is going to start the brand process of the re-engagement based on going to an event, or because they buy a physical product that in some way is tagged to have a digital twin, and that is the first thing that goes into their new little wallet, and that will start the process of all the other things that will start to go into their wallets. And for me, that's where this begins to scale. So, David, Mike, your thoughts?
Sure. So the first thing that we noticed whenever brands are trying to engage their audience, there's obviously this friction of how do I set up a crypto wallet? What is a crypto wallet? Why do I need a crypto wallet, right? So the best thing we noticed that works is not see the crypto wallet. So using account abstraction, we can set up an underlayer of the crypto wallet that technically acts as a custodial wallet. You see the pretty pictures, you see the benefits. We operate throughout the in-person experience and outside of it, virtually or in person with other types of brand activations, but you never get to see the crypto wallet unless you actually choose to own that wallet at a future stage. So that's the first step. Don't see the wallet, but use it and gain all of the benefits for it.
Great. David?
Yeah, I think that's I think there's several very important technical innovations going on right now. One of them is account abstraction, which you have mentioned, which kind of provides a secure abstraction to wallets. So is hiding the wallet complexity for users, but provides the same amount of privacy and security as traditional wallets. And then another thing that we have done at OwnerChip actually is we call it Owner Card. It is a card format like a credit card, but it's essentially a hardware wallet. And we give this to brands, we give this to our creators to hand out to their customers along with the actual physical object. And they can just scan it with their phone, and it signs a transaction. And this way they have their own physical wallet without having to use like MetaMask, which is always a pain in the ass, let's be honest.
So Avi, I know that for your event you were also early, maybe I think the first to issue an NFT ticket, as it were, for something. What are your thoughts on that idea of putting NFTs in the hands of people who have no idea what they are?
Well, I think 3 years ago, we launched the first utility NFT in Romania, which were the tickets for brand minds. So it was a very limited series, and it was not something like a mass market stuff. It was highly curated collection that I think that who owns a brand minds NFT? Almost all the NFT holders are in this room. Okay. So it was an experiment. It worked, and all these guys will have access, lifetime access to brand minds and all the other events that we are building. And we are trying, with this NFT, we tried somehow to bring value, an extra layer that will somehow make sense for their involvement and for their loyalty for our brand. Okay. But right now, I believe that my narrative regarding the NFTs and NFT digital products, it's a little bit different than 3 years ago. Why? Because I believe that right now we must focus on the utility for the user and also for the data that you are collecting through that NFT. I would use the NFT as a communication tool with the client.
So, one of the things the fact that the way you said it there, it makes me think about one of the most important ideas about this conversation that I think we have to embrace. I'm super bullish and optimistic about where Web3 is going for brands and marketing, but it's really important to understand that that is 3 to 5, even 10 years away, because we have to have mass market access through wallets, which probably won't be the word, or whatever those things are. The same way people have a Gmail account and they connect to everything with it, that they have a thing. So I think it's really important to also realize that this is a huge, huge change in innovation, but it's in the future, but we're working on it now. But I'm really curious, as an insurance company, what does that mean working, as this idea and also the investments that you've made, how are you looking at this idea of bringing NFTs or this Web3 functionality to the masses who not only do not understand any of this, should not, because that's how tech works. Tech scales when you don't have to learn anything, it just solves your problem. So nobody needs to figure out a wallet, needs to figure out a phrase for their keys. All that stuff has to go completely away for most people. So what are your thoughts about taking this thing to the masses?
That's a very good question, because there are two sides of this use case. It's a twofold type of thing. So first of all, everybody wants to associate their product, even if it sounds very traditional, as insurance, with innovation. And innovation is a word I personally hate, because when you start saying it, you don't innovate anymore. But the big question now is also, how do you insure NFTs? Can you actually go with your NFT and get insurance for it? And that's a question that a lot of companies in the insurance space are asking, because we have the Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs that are very valuable. We also have the Punk NFTs that are very valuable. But at the end of the day, how do you know they are actually worth the amount they're worth? And the big challenge is how to build underwriting models that would associate an actual real-world value with the NFT and ensure that amount of money. So that's one of the biggest challenges that personally I think it will take up to a decade from now to solve, because you can't really find the 3 auction houses to, insure your products. But when it comes to phygital, for example, like the products you're developing, it's definitely easier to get an insurance with a physical product that has an NFT clone. And that's where the beauty of it comes in. You can actually do a bit of a peering, let's say, innovation, because you have the sneakers or you have the bag, you know that it's authentic, and because you associate the existence of the NFT and NFC with the physical product, you can know that that product is the insured product. And I think that's where one of the first use cases of insurance will appear in conjunction with blockchain. Other than that, you can't really give the policy as an NFT, because how do you explain to the policeman that your MTPL policy is an NFT?
I think one of the places in insurance, without changing that subject, but one of the places it will get really fun is just smart contracts. Because the fact that smart contracts are neither smart nor contracts, if you understand how they work, but they're triggers. They're just things that can, when this happens, this can be done. And insurance, that's brilliant, because if I've got a Tesla that's all wired up and it has an accident and it knows what just broke in the accident, and it can send that information to the garage, and the garage validates it, and the smart contract automatically for my insurance says, okay, that fits the amount of stuff, and the money gets sent to the account with 0 humans involved in that process. Smart contracts, or the functionality of that, could get really fun with insurance. It's not really an NFT question, but I think there is a lot of cool stuff there.
It gets even more fun, actually, because there's a thing called parametric insurance, which refers to especially insurance in agriculture, which is actually a pretty big field, because you have a lot of literal fields that are worth a lot of money in the crops, and you can get the parametric insurance against different statistical events such as rain, earthquakes, etc. And you can get your claim, like you just gave an example with the car, through a smart contract. And there you can use some NFTs in terms of the policy for that, but only for these optional parametric-based products. But it's very interesting, and it can definitely be done.
And I brought it up just because I think what's interesting is all of this stuff is going to just be part of this amazing thing that works together once we finally get there. There's going to be so many different ways it interacts, just because everything's going to be tokenized and blockchain on some level for infrastructure, not because we're all into crypto or whatever, but just because efficiency is what tends to win over time. But so we've kind of done the rounds here, but MTK, what are your thoughts about this idea when you see all the projects that you talk about or all the articles and stuff? When you look at this mass adoption of using NFTs, actually this bridge between NFTs and brands leveraging this, what are your thoughts?
I think that first we have to remove the word wallet from our vocabulary and replace it with accounts, because that is what our generation is used with, and Gen 8 that is coming behind us are getting raised in a user generated content environment, and they are going to really reshape the way NFTs are going to be leveraged into the next iteration, and this is how it works for brands. And if you look at Roblox, for instance, where most of the new coming generation is getting raised, they have 70 million active users. Adidas already started to introduce digital collectibles in Roblox, and in the same time, Adidas is one of the first projects to have a NFT collection. Now, it's going just to be a matter of time until they are going to start bridging the two worlds, because while their Roblox users are growing and they're going to become active units in the economical system worldwide, they're going to start to provide value in the blockchain infrastructure.
Avi, in this idea of brands kind of pushing their messages out through marketing and advertising, with your experience in that space, how do you see this fitting into this? So we have this idea where basically we eventually need this thing that connects us, so the NFT, the digital asset that connects the brand and the customer or the fan, whether it's a ticket, whether it's a physical item, whether it's because they insured some digital collectible, whatever all these kind of things are, pushing a message out to them through advertising. How do you see that in Web3/NFTs evolving?
Well, I believe that in the following 5 to 10 years, exactly like you said, there will be a lot of new jobs like airdrop manager that will be involved to send you messages directly in your wallet, or NFT loyalty manager, all kind of new jobs that will appear. But I have a new perspective after all these years in exploring the idea of future NFTs and brands. There are some things that are not taken into consideration. The first thing is the fact that people are people. What does this mean? That they need to be incentivized in a way, not just to have NFT as a receipt for something that you bought. Two, I believe that NFT and through Web3 through NFT can become a very, very powerful tool as a CRM or as a loyalty program. I believe this. And three, I believe that all these NFTs must have an infinite life. Because 99.99% of the projects that we see on the market are finite. So how can you bring value to the consumer to have an infinite value through owning that NFT? So these are some ideas that...
No, I think there's rewards and loyalty is a huge space where brands are going to engage with this, because typical rewards programs for brands is you spend money and you get rewards. So you buy a salad, every week from the same place, and they stamp your card, and after 10 salads, you get a free salad. Or Starbucks with their Odyssey program, which they've now stopped the beta, but there was a lot of interesting things that were done. The idea is creating loyalty without having to spend money. So the cool thing with the Starbucks program was there were 5 tasks basically in every journey, and at the end of a journey, you got a journey stamp, which was an NFT. Which you could trade, which you could sell, which you could use for things for rewards. But only 1 or 2 of the 5 tasks were spending money at Starbucks. The others were watching a 2-minute video on sustainable coffee production, or taking a quiz about, something. Things that really bring brands and their customers close to each other. I think that kind of stuff is super fascinating. Next week, I go to Riga because I have a couple Planes NFTs, which are the Air Baltics NFTs, and they've invited a bunch of us to Riga. I'm going to get to go to the training center and play in the plane where they teach everybody this stuff and stuff like that, because I'm in the rewards program. That's super cool. And Air France, I'm platinum, and I've been on them for a decade, and I've never had even an email saying, "Hey, buddy." I think that kind of rewards and loyalty stuff is cool. So we shortened the panel just by a little bit. So instead of going to a couple questions I maybe wanted to ask, what I'd really want to hear from each of you, to give each of you the chance to have something else to say, is where do you think brands and NFTs are going in the next couple of years? What do you see as the thing that's coming? But also, Ioana, you wanted to say something based on what I just said, so feel free to that, and then I just want to jump down to David, and we'll walk back this way, just to give a kind of closing thought about brands and NFTs are going to do this in the next couple of years.
Definitely. Actually, what I was going to say fits perfectly with your question.
Okay.
So I think that fan engagement is one of the key drivers for NFTs. Even as much as a lot of digital companies have ventured into the digital product passports, which at the end of the day will be a game to play for the cheapest possible option for each brand to do greenwashing. There is also an alternative, and one of our portfolio companies called That App is working with sports clubs, one of the latest of them being one of the biggest ones from Madrid. I think you all know the name. And they are doing fan jerseys for different events, and everybody who has a digital jersey or a fan scarf gets access to exclusive experiences. For example, one other project that they've done, and I'm super proud of them because, you know, it's our portfolio, so we love them, and, you know, it's amazing, is with Alpine F1 for the Mexico GP. They launched some really cool fan jerseys, and you can actually tap your product and you get exclusive content from the Formula One pilots. And it's amazing, and I think this is the future, engaging with your fans in a sustainable way without making them work, without doing greenwashing, and without having them spend even more money. That's actually building a community.
Awesome. David?
Yeah, I think that's super valuable what you just said. For me personally, I think there's two key kind of benefits for brands. The first one we've discussed a bit already, which is the customer engagement part. So especially at OwnerChip, we have these phygital objects that customers can, where customers can unlock additional digital utility. And brands really have the freedom to attach any kind of value to a physical piece that people have purchased and give more value to the customer and make it a happier customer and just provide him with additional utility. That's number one. And then I believe the second part, which is less talked about, for if you have these phygital objects, phygital items that are being sold and also resold on the secondary market, you can provide very valuable analytics to brands. So for instance, Rolex or any high-end fashion brand, they have a blooming secondary market, but it's kind of opaque. They don't have the data. They don't know who is buying what on the secondary market. And so by bringing it on the blockchain, you can also provide some transparency for the brand to benefit from that kind of data.
Awesome. Mike?
So you mentioned Air France, and you mentioned the fact that you're a platinum flyer. You know who could win from this notion if it were open, if it were on an NFT? Or let me put it this way. It's cool to drink champagne in the first class of Air France. You know what's cooler? To drink it in a special event by Dom Perignon, right? Imagine if there were some sort of loyalty program by Dom Perignon that doesn't use Dom Perignon data or LVMH data, uses open data, right? And the way you do that is with NFTs, right? Because they're open, right? We are still thinking in terms of centralized data platforms, right? Me, Air France, I'm going to do my loyalty program, and it's going to be an NFT. All right, what's so different about the old school types of loyalty programs? What if we could use the data outside of the company? Because Dom Perignon is interested in you. You're a platinum flyer. Hermes is interested in you. The guys who are doing Paris Blockchain Summit are interested in you because you probably can be one of the whale buyers, right? So let's think in terms of end consumer. How can we make the end consumer that is valuable in one niche to be valuable in another niche and use their data across brands, right? So if I'm a useful platform, a useful buyer for Air France and LVMH, I'm probably going to be a useful buyer for other luxury brands. So I think this is something that we can do. And this is something that we've done with some brands.
It's a fascinating point because, you know, I love my New Balance and have too many different colors of them. And if I had an NFT for each one, they would see me as a customer that they could reward. So when I go to the store and I scan my QR code, they're like, here's a discount, you're a valued customer. But if I go next door to the Nike store, which I don't have any of, but I scan my QR code and they see the wallet and they go, oh, you have a lot of New Balance NFTs, we're going to give you 10% off in the store today to be a Nike customer. The thing that's really interesting when you use NFTs for communication, for connection between brands and customers and fans is other brands can leverage that NFT's existence to understand the things that you're interested in and also bring you value. And I think that's a fascinating topic. And it's actually interesting because it's GDPR compliant because you self-identify with the NFTs in your wallet. If you don't want to be known as a New Balance customer, you just get rid of the NFTs and put them in a different wallet and don't show that to people. So it's actually a really interesting thing where you can actually control the data that's being used to target you for marketing purposes. I think that's a brilliant space. Unfortunately, we don't have time to dive deeper into, but it's a very fun point. MTK?
I also like very much Mike's idea of collaboration between brands through NFTs, you can open so many doors in a permissionless way. On top of that, I would add that the brands will have to look into gamification and collaboration and co-creation through their communities in order to increase the engagement. And I believe that is going to lead to a hyper-personalization of brands towards the customers through NFTs.
Fantastic. And to close us out, Avi, your thoughts?
Well, every brand, every company wants to sell. Let's not get around our... let's focus only on this. Every company wants to sell products. As long as you will help any company in this world to sell their products, they will implement everything. NFTs, loyalty programs, and you name it. At this point, NFTs are quite difficult to reach the mass markets. So this is why they are not adopting the technology. Not because they are stupid, but because there's no mass adoption. And I believe that NFTs or NFT creators, if you know exactly how can you help brands to sell more products, then you will win.
I think it's funny that you mentioned the selling people things piece of that, because I do this kind of all the time. I did 80 events last year, so I get to meet lots of amazing people and learn from them. And one of them is a guy named Will Intrican, who was the lead author on ERC 721, which is what makes NFTs, or one of the things. And he has this quote where he has a bunch of great ones, but the one I really love is that NFT's basic main purpose is to sell people things they already want. And I think that's really interesting, because we actually all love to be sold things we already want. We love when the ads on Insta or wherever are the things we want, because we engage with those ads. Like, we don't mind ads whenever they are things that we already care about. We just mind the ads that actually aren't things we care about. So I love the idea that one of the ways that brands will get closer to their customers through NFTs and Web3 is because NFTs serve this purpose of bridging that and allowing people to have more of the stuff they already are interested in. Please give a huge round of applause for our fantastic roundtable. And just, if it's not on Twitter, it didn't happen. So let's do our panel selfie so that we can post that. And a huge round of applause for our the amazing Team NFT Bucharest organizers. Thanks for a great event, guys. Round of applause.